Now for the thing that we don't want to tell my mom about. This is what I call a reasonable accommodation. Today we're going to talk about what to expect. And sometimes you might not expect some things, and they can be funny. So if you want to laugh at something today, please feel free to laugh, because I try and be funny. It's one of the ways that I try and convey my messages. So, one of the things I also want to let you know is when I go out in public, a lot of times people will actually come up to me and say some incredibly stupid things. A lot of times they'll come over and they'll point and they'll say, "You don't have any legs." And in response to that, I always look down and go, "Where'd they go?" I mean, what else can you really say to these people, you know? But really what they want to know is, why don't I have any legs? And I don't have any legs because I was born that way. Now, some people have incredibly good stories, like, oh, I don't know, they stepped on the power takeoff on the back of a tractor and it ripped their leg off like a pencil in a pencil sharpener. Or landmine or something like that. But I don't have a good story like that, so I lie. And what I tell people a lot of times, well, with the incident down in Florida, I tell them shark attack. That's one of my favorites lately. Or the other one, if the kid's really small, like, 6, 7 years old, and they come up and they say, "You don't have any legs." I tell them, yes, I don't have any legs. And I don't have any legs because I was staring at a kid without any legs, and all of a sudden this big puff of smoke came, and I didn't have any. And usually they run back to their parents and get all, kind of scared and stuff, which is okay, keeps them on their toes. But I want to tell you, I have what I consider a minimum disability, because after people get to know me up here, they don't necessarily see what's not down here. Let me give you a classic example of that. At one time I was dating a woman named Sherry, and we were sitting in a restaurant. And for no apparent reason, I made some kind of off comment, kind of little bad comment, and all of a sudden, my wheelchair gets pushed straight back underneath the table. And I looked at her, and her face got all red. And she put her hands on her face, and she went, "Oh my goodness." And I said, "What?" And she goes, "I tried to kick your legs, but I forgot you didn't have any." This is a classic example of stuff that happens to me all the time. Because really, ladies and gentlemen, we all have disabilities. But it's what you do with your life to overcome those disabilities. And some people have larger disabilities than others. There are people out there that have to deal with their disability every single day of their life. It colors every interaction they have with every single person. There are people out there that are left-handed. It starts out very young in their schooling, I tell you, with desks and stuff. Everything's made for right-handed people. And then they have to deal with scissors. And there's that whole writing thing where they get their hands all black all the time from writing. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, those people have problems. They've got real problems. But there are some other people that say, well, okay, you do have a minimum disability, but it's probably easier for you because you never really had legs, and then you lost them. So you don't really know what it was like. You really never had to go through anything. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, never had them, never will. I did it the easy way, okay? Yeah. And then there are the people who think I'm some tremendous inspiration for me being able to overcome all of the adversity in my life. Yes, and usually these people are men, and they hang out in malls in groups of 5. And I'm sure they hang out in groups of 5 because they all share 1/5 of a brain. Yes, yes. And usually one of them, when I'm in the mall, they kind of stand there and they all make car noises like, And finally, one of them gets up enough, gumption, I guess, to come over and say something to me. And usually what they say is this: "I was watching you, and you do so good in that wheelchair. You're a real inspiration to me. This morning I got up and I was feeling really bad about myself, and then I saw you. And I realized how many things I have going for me, because if I was in your situation, I would have to kill myself." Really, people come up to me all the time and tell me if they were in my situation, they'd have to kill themselves. And so I just look back at them and I go, if I was in your situation, I'd have to kill myself. They don't realize that this is absolutely normal for me. Ladies and gentlemen, it is as normal for me to push around in my wheelchair as it is for you to walk around. How many people here walk around most of the day? Okay. Are you pretty good at it, probably? Yeah. Well, I push my wheelchair most of the day, so I'm probably pretty good at it. Okay? Also, I really do have a great life. I own 3 very successful businesses. I also play for the United States Olympic team. In the last 2 years, I have been to Germany, Denmark, Sweden, Sydney, Egypt, and Iran, not to mention all around the United States, playing and demonstrating my sport. I also own my own condominium. I own my own vehicle. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I can drive. Yeah. And from time to time, I even have girlfriends. Yes, yes, yes. I actually have a really, really great life. But some people just totally can't buy it. And, well, what happens is they just can't get over the fact that I have gotten over my disability. And what I want to tell you is, well, it's something about disabilities. A disability is nothing more than a magnifying glass on someone's character. Let me say that again. A disability is nothing more than a magnifying glass on someone's character. And again, everyone has disabilities. But it's what you do with your life to overcome your disability. Let me tell you about a very good friend of mine named Mike. Mike is a very disciplined person. He was actually a coach of mine when I was in college, and he was a Canadian. And before he was injured, he was in the Canadian Special Forces. He was trained in the anti-terrorist division. We can actually go to movies, and there'll be somebody with a Uzi or something, and and he'll go, wait, that's an Uzi, and that was a 30-round clip, and he just fired 42 times. He's very, very disciplined. Also, he's the kind of guy that when it rains, he goes, I love the rain. And I say, well, why do you like the rain? He goes, because other people don't like the rain. And it gives him an advantage over those people. This is the kind of guy Mike is. Now, I want to let you know that the day before Mike's graduation, he was going to his cottage with 3 of his friends in his Fiat convertible. And he was trying to set a new land speed record to his cottage. Ladies and gentlemen, there was no alcohol involved in the event. But the last turn, right before his cottage, he lost control of his vehicle and he rolled his car 9 times. The last 2 end over end. And it landed on his spine. Fortunately for his friends, they were all thrown clear. And Mike was paralyzed from the chest down. The next day, he was in the hospital, and the nurse came up to him and said, Mike, you'll never walk again. And he said, no problem. But today's graduation, I need to call my commanding officer. And she said, well, you don't understand. You'll never walk again. He said, no, you don't understand. I still have things that I need to do today. Okay? A disability in Mike's life that day was nothing more than an inconvenience because of the content